everybody. I hope you're doing well today. If we haven't met before, my name's Tina, and this video is all about using up my stash. If you're anything like me and you're into crafting and you're into Christmas, you've got quite a stash that you have sitting around that you haven't used up yet. And I am going to be going through my stash in the next 12 days and getting as much Christmas stuff done as I possibly can. That includes decor, gifts, DIYs, thrift flips, all over the place. So every day I am going to take something out of my stash, or multiple things, and I'm going to be remaking them or making them on this channel, and I thought I would bring you along. So if you're interested in that kind of thing and you need to work through your stash, stay tuned, and I hope you enjoy this video. So right off, I've got this St. Nick casting from the St. Nick mold from IOD and a book box. And I'm going to be cutting out some decoupage paper to put on the top of it. I'm going to be cutting this in two separate pieces, so I'm trimming off all of the white on this, and then I'm going to be cutting it in half.
This whole year, dear Christmas, Christmas, Christmas night. I know you may suffer light, but together we're alright. You know we're ready for Christmas. Can't wait to head back home. When the sleigh blows cold, I hit the road, baby, let it snow.
So now that I have my pieces cut, I'm going to go ahead and take some Pentart decoupage glue. And this book box is kind of like a cloth feeling, so it absorbs a lot of the decoupage glue. So I wanted to use something that was heavy, that works really well. And the Pentart decoupage glue works really well. I would say also Fusion is similar to this. So I'm going to go ahead and cover that really, really well, knowing that a lot of it's going to absorb. And then I'm going to be putting that one side on. And this is pretty easy. I'm just trying to get it even on the three sides, and then I know it's going to overlap on the edge. And I'm just taking this little tool and making sure that it's down flat. I'm going to go over it with my hand as well and make sure there's no bubbles or anything like that. And I will go over the top as well with the Extreme Guard by Paint Couture. And this is going to be a really good top coat. I prefer doing that rather than the decoupage glue because I want something that is going to be very strong, and that Extreme Guard's very good. I take my heat gun and I go over it when I'm done, because anytime you add moisture back to your decoupage paper, you could have bubbles, and that will flatten them out. And then I go ahead and I put a second coat on. I'm putting two coats because I want this to be something that lasts for a while. And then I'm just going to repeat the process on the other side.
Drive alone in December rain. They play my favorite song. I see a snowflake melt on the deck. I'm awful cold and longing for the holiday. Counting days until you're here. I've been waiting this whole year. Dear Christmas, Christmas, Christmas night. I know you may suffer light, but together we're alright. You know we're ready for Christmas. Can't wait to head back home. When the sleigh blows cold, I hit the road, baby, let it snow. We're ready for Christmas. Why you so far yet close? I think I hear them call. So baby, let it snow. Deck the house. That's when the snow starts falling. I pick up.
So now what I'm going to do is I sand off the edge, that longer edge that we had, And you just wait until it's completely dry, and you make sure you have a downward motion. And now what I'm doing is I have some aluminite casting resin, which I do now sell on my website if you're interested. And this is the tan color. And I'm putting equal parts A and B. And I just opened this up, and a tip that I have learned is to go ahead and mark your tops A and B and keep them with the right container, because if you mix the two, they will pretty much be welded shut. So that's a tip from me from experience. I have learned that. So now you're going to take equal parts of A and B, and you're going to mix them together. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm doing enough to do what I'm going to do today, and a couple of extra things that I'm going to use in the next couple days. So you'll see that. But anyway, I'm pouring these two together, and I'm going to mix it not very long, probably about, I don't know, 30 seconds, a minute. So then after that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pour this. This is Frames 4 by IOD. I love this mold. This is the smaller part of that frame. And I'm going to go ahead and cast those two little holly pieces that are on the St. Nick mold. And then I'm going to go ahead and cast some other extra pieces that I will use in another project, and we won't be using it in this one. But anyway, I go ahead and do that, and it takes about only 10 minutes for this to set up. And the thing is, I am going to want to take out that mold of that Frames 4 while it's fairly still pliable for what we're going to do. So anyway, while that is go ahead and curing, I'm going to take out my St. Nick mold. I have already poured this, and that's what this Craft Your Stash. I'm just picking up things I've already done, adding to it. And I am going over this with Fusion's Victorian Lace, which is a very nice white color. And I'm just going to go over with one coat with that. The trick to doing this in the detail is to have a base coat down. So now I've taken out that mold or that casting from the Trimmings 4, and I am bending it around the spine of this book box so that it has a curve. And I'm going to go ahead and use my heat gun if it doesn't curve as much as I want it to. I want to make sure I get a nice curve and it is laying flat on the sides. I, could have used any type of trim that would just go over that spine piece, but I wanted it to overlap a little bit just to really give this, when we get done, this beautifully gorgeous spine. And now what I'm doing is I'm using my super glue that has a spray accelerant, and I'm putting quite a bit down because, like I said, this book box it has kind of a material feel to it, almost like a drop cloth. So I want to make sure that I have plenty of glue on there. And I'm going to heat this up a little bit more. When you heat up your already dry casting, it will allow it to be more pliable, because I want to make sure that bend is in there. And I'm going to hold it until it sticks, which only takes a couple seconds, and I spray it with the adhesive or with the accelerant. And now I'm heating up that mold again so that I can take my craft knife and just cut the edges so that it's equal. I do that on both sides, and that will give me a nice flush finish. And just heating it up and then taking that craft knife and cutting it.
Baby, let it snow. We're ready for Christmas. Why you so fire close? I think I hear them call. So baby, let it snow. Deck the house. That's when the snow starts falling. I pick all the presents up for you. Decorate the fireplace for two. I keep waiting all night, all night. Wish upon a starlight, starlight. I sleep under the night.
So now I have this little wood piece. Originally I was going to put that on there, and then I kind of figured it was too much for what I wanted to do, so I changed my mind. So we're just going to use the St. Nick. And by the way, guys, I still have these in stock as well as a snow globe. The snow globe mold is sold out at IOD, and I'm guessing the St. Nick will be the next one that is sold out. So if you want them, grab them, guys, because if they're around after IOD is sold out, they usually cost more. So anyway, I am going to try and figure out where I'm going to put those pieces of holly, and we'll get an idea of what we're going to do with those. I'm not going to glue those on yet because I'm going to be painting those. But right now, I'm going to go ahead and paint this piece that we put on the spine. And I am using this wonderful color by Fusion called Bayberry. This is probably my favorite green. And I'm going to go over really only one time. I'm just really making sure that I get into all those beautiful, beautiful detailed areas of this. And I'm going to also make sure I go down the sides.
Drive alone in December rain. They play my favorite song. I see a snowflake melt on the deck. I'm awful cold and longing for the holiday. Counting days until you're here. I've been waiting this whole year. Dear Christmas, Christmas, Christmas night. I know you may suffer light, but together we're alright. You know we're ready for Christmas. Can't wait to head back home.
So now I'm just painting the little holly pieces from the St. Nick mold with that same color. And I'm going to go ahead and do both of them. And then I'm going to go over the berries with Fort York Red by Fusion. I'm just picking off any of the little extra pieces that on the pour.
I pick all the presents up for you. Decorate the fireplace for two. I keep waiting all night, all night. Wish upon a starlight, starlight. I sleep under the mistletoe. Wake me up with a kiss on my nose. It feels so magical, yeah, look where we were small. Someone's been here and there. The star kiss for all. Christmas, Christmas, Christmas night. I know you may suffer light, but together we're alright. You know we're ready for Christmas. Can't wait to head back home. When the sleigh blows cold, I hit the road.
Okay, so now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be mixing up some flesh tone for Santa's face. And I'm taking several different colors. I'm going to be taking Victorian lace first. I added some terracotta from Fusion. That is the alchemy color. You can mix these, guys. So, and then I added a little bit of grounded. This is from Paint Couture. And I've come up with this color. I'm going to add a little bit more Victorian lace in there because I want it a little bit lighter. And just kind of keep going until I figure out what I need. I'm probably doing a little bit more than I need, but I actually, off camera, use that paint for something else. Anyway, so I'm adding a little bit more white to it, and I'm going to keep going. And I decide that it needs just a little bit of a pink tone to it, so I'm going to take the tiniest bit of my Fort York Red and mix it in there until I get the color that I want. And also, always make sure on the flesh tone that you do a little extra because you definitely want to be able to correct any mistakes that you might make. Anyway, that's what I like to do. So I've went ahead and I've mixed it all up, and I think I get it to the color that I want. And I'm gonna paint in the entire face, and I don't care if it's perfect or if I go over into the beard or if I go into the hat, because I can come back later and paint over that with the other color. So I want to make sure I get everything, and don't worry, I'm not going to worry about over painting it.
So baby, let it snow. Deck the house. That's when the snow starts falling. I pick all the presents up for you. Decorate the fireplace for two.
So now I'm just taking a little of that Fort York red and mixing it in with the flesh tone. And I'm going to go ahead and paint the cheeks a little bit. And I know that looks a little harsh, but I'm going to be blending that in with the flesh tone again. I'm going to take a little bit on my brush and I'm going to keep going until I get it blended in the way that I want it. And that's a great way to make it look kind of realistic.
It's Christmas, Christmas night. I know you may suffer like, but together we're alright. You know we're ready.
So now what I'm doing is I'm going over the entire beard, and this is with a glaze from Pentart. It's great to use a glaze on this kind of stuff. So it's called Weathered Wood, and it's a gray tone. And I'm going to go over the whole thing, and I know it looks like it's kind of messed up, but it's not. So the glaze gives you a lot of time to work with it, and it's also kind of transparent. So it's a perfect kind of medium to use on something like this. And I'm going to wipe back quite a bit of it and leave the gray inside the beard so that you can see all of that wonderful detail. And I take my brush and I dig out any that's in there too much, and I'm going to do that over the whole thing.
Drive alone in December rain. They play my favorite song. I see a snowflake melt on the deck. I'm awful cold and longing for the holiday. Counting days until you're here. I've been waiting this whole year. Dear Christmas, Christmas.
So now what I'm doing is I'm going over the hat, Santa's hat, with the Fort York red. And it's going to take a couple coats. So I'll put one coat on and let it dry. And on this one, I'm kind of being reasonably careful because red is really hard to cover after. And I'm trying to, paint it reasonably well. And I'm going to go over it 2 times with that. Then after that, I am going to go on to the part that scares everybody, is the eyes. And I am going to go ahead and fill in the eye socket there with just that Victorian lace, the white. And I'm going to fill all of that in. And if I get over a little bit or I mess up, not a big deal, because remember, we still have all that flesh tone sitting around that we can fix things. And that's what I'm doing here, is I'm going to go in and anywhere where I kind of over painted with the white, I'm going to fill that in with that flesh tone. And now I'm taking some blue that I mixed. It's Homestead blue with a little white. And I'm going to put a tiny bit of blue in the middle and try and keep it as round as possible. Again, I can always go back in and fix it. Then I'm going to take just a dot of black, and I think I'm using just Coal Black by Fusion. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of that Victorian lace on the tip of a ballpoint pen and put a dot of white in there. And that just makes the eyes look alive. So now I'm going to go over the hat portion of it, and I've got to put something on there to bring out all of that detail in it. So I am using another glaze, and this is called Platinum, and it's a glaze by Pentart. They have quite a few glazes, guys, and I go over that. I'm letting it sit there for a while. I'm going to wipe it back. And I also need to go over the eyebrows with that weathered wood, because I painted them white, but I did not do anything, like I did with the beard. So I'm going to try and get that to match. And I'm going to go ahead and wipe back quite a bit of this this other platinum glaze on the hat and that little ball part of the hat. So anyway, the thing to remember here, I kind of messed up, or I kind of went over, and I still have all of that flesh tone, so I can go back in and easily touch up around my face. Not a problem. It makes it really easy. This was not difficult, guys. It was really, really easy. And worst case scenario, you have that extra paint that you can go and just paint over and start again. So now I am taking some amber honey glaze from Pentart, and I'm putting it on the hat. And I'm going to put it on and wipe it back, and that's so that you can see the detail in the hat. I'm going to take that same amber honey glaze, and I'm going to go over those little holly pieces that we had painted before, and then wipe back quite a bit of it.
So baby, let it snow. Deck the house. That's when the snow starts falling.
So now what I'm doing is I'm taking that amber honey glaze, and I'm going to go ahead and make sure I get that all in that detail. There's a lot of detail. I love this trimmings for mold, guys. It is fantastic. I really, really was hoping that they would come out with something that was wider. And this is the smaller of the two pieces that are on there. So there's one that's quite a bit wider. But it is great for making frames look really detailed. Anytime I put this on a frame and, jazz it up with this, it sells immediately in my booth. So after I get that glaze on there, I'm going to, again, wipe back a lot of it. I'm going to leave as much as I can in the lower parts. And now what I'm doing is I am taking Juniper. It's Alchemy by Fusion. And I'm going to be mixing that up with a little bit of that bayberry because I want a little bit of a lighter green. And I'm going to take that green and kind of go over the top of this to just kind of bring out some more definition and give it more depth. In any project, the more layers that you have, the better it's going to look, the more sophisticated and high-end it'll look. So that is one thing that I like to add to any project I do, is always add extra layers. And I'm going to add that same mixture to those two holly pieces, and that will actually brighten it up as well. So what you saw me do is I mixed a little bit of my amber honey glaze and a little bit of that platinum glaze to make a little bit lighter brown to go over the top of the hat, and then wipe it back, simply because I wanted a little bit more definition up there, so that kind of it'll pop a little bit more. You can see all that detail, and I'm kind of liking that better. And now I'm going to take that amber honey glaze, and I'm going to go ahead and go over the whole front of the book with this, concentrating more around the edges, just because I want to vintage this up a little bit. I don't want it to be overly dark. I'm going to wipe a lot of it back, but I want to just make this look a little bit more vintage, and I will go over the sides and get the sides of that as well. And I'm also going to go over the part that looks like pages, just to vintage that up as well, and it'll kind of bring this whole project all together.
Decorate the fireplace for two. I keep waiting all night, all night. Wish upon a starlight, starlight. I sleep under the mistletoe. Wake me up with a kiss on my nose. It feels so magical, yeah, look where we were small. Someone's been here and there. The star kiss for all. Christmas, Christmas, Christmas night. I know you may suffer like, but together we're alright. You know we're ready for Christmas. Can't wait to head back home. When the sleigh bells call, I hit the road. Baby, let it snow. We're ready for Christmas.
Okay, so now I'm placing everything on the way that I want it, and I am going to use that same glue. You definitely could use Type Bond, but because I'm doing a video and I need it to have immediate hold, I'm going to go ahead and use it. And I'm going to make sure I put a good amount on there and uh, get it in there on there really good. You don't want to put too much, and I do actually put too much on the two holly pieces, and I have a little bit of extra glue there, and I will show you how I fix that in a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on, and see, you just put that spray on around the edges. Enough of it will seep in there that it'll be an instant hold. And of course I do the other two pieces as well, the two holly pieces. And if you notice, I put a little extra glue on there. I wiped it off, but it did kind of smear it a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and take some of that amber honey glaze, and I'm going to go in there and just paint around where I have those castings, and that will get rid of that extra little glue portion. So now what I'm doing is I am taking, this is Pentart wax paste in bronze, and I'm putting some on my finger, and I'm going over that holly piece and just very lightly with my finger adding that to this. And I really love how this just kind of sets us all off. I'm going to go ahead and fix those pieces there. That's what I was telling you about, that you just take a little bit of your whatever antiquing, whether it be wax or whatever, and go over those portions, and you'll never notice. And I'm also going to add a little extra over there on the edges, just to make it look a little bit more vintage. And this is going to help camouflage any mistakes that I might have made. So then I'm going to go ahead and take that bronze and I'm going over the edges, and you can see the gorgeous detail, and this just really makes them pop and makes this look so elegant.
Christmas night, I know you may suffer life, but together we're alright. You know we're ready for Christmas. Can't wait to head back home. When the sleigh bells call, I hit the road. Baby, let it snow. We're ready for Christmas. Why you so far yet close? I think I hear the call. So baby, let it snow. We're ready for Christmas. Can't wait to head back home. When the sleigh bells call, I hit the road. Baby, let it snow. We're ready for Christmas. Why you so
So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that same bronze and metallic paste, and I have it on a brush, and I'm just feathering it down the edges, and that's going to just frame out this book box and just make it look even more elegant when we get done. And one thing too, guys, on any of these wax paste, if you get somewhere you don't want it, just get some clear wax and put it on, and it'll just erase it completely. So just remember that. So I'm going to do that all over it, and then what I'm going to do is I just put a little bit of that beige or that skin tone paint, and kind of went over the nose and the cheeks a little bit because I thought it was a little bit too pink. And I'm going to also take some of that Victorian lace, and I'm going to dry brush over all of the beard, and just go ahead and bring back a little bit more of the white, just so that it doesn't look all gray and doesn't look overly dingy. And I'm going to do that also to the hat as well. And what that does is that makes it brighter, but it also adds even more definition because that dark color will stay in all of the detail and the cracks. So here it is. I think this would make a great gift by itself or a great gift box. I'm actually going to use it to put a gift card in.
It feels so magical, yeah, look where we were small. Someone's been here and there, the star kiss were wrong. Christmas, Christmas, Christmas night, I know you may suffer like, but together we're alright. You know we're ready for Christmas.
If you happen to need any IOD, Fusion, Paint Couture, Pentart, Sweet Pickins Milk Paint, JRV, Roycycle papers, or Decoupage papers, you can get that on my website, rehashdesigns.com. We offer a free shipping and also flat rate shipping and very fast delivery if you need to add to your stash. I hope you enjoyed that, and stay tuned for the next video that you'll be seeing tomorrow. Take care. See you next time. Bye-bye.